Hello, NosillaCastaways. Where's my
Hello.
little clock?
Hello, Potfeet.
Oh,
Oh, you want
there
your
it
little
is.
clock.
Hang on. My camera angle must be wrong because the clock's in the wrong place. Must be over there. Uh-oh. I'll move my camera and
I'll fix the
everything.
little
Just
clock.
No, I fixed it.
Did you?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Let me work on that.
Actually, I think here. Seriously, I think that's over a little bit from where it should be. How's that?
Let me do
can't
some
tell.
fine tuning. You just stay put. Don't move your camera.
Nope. Nope. I'm gonna keep moving it. Whee! Okay, so now that everybody can hear me, I got to tell you guys a funny story. I got a great email. I'm going to mention it a little bit in the show, but I got a great email from a woman named Janet McKenzie, and she has never written to me before, and she's been listening since 2005. So I thought that was pretty fun. I thought that was really cool. But the thing I thought I wanted to make sure you guys heard was she said, maybe someday I'll come in the live chat room, but I'm afraid I might make a fool of myself.
Oh, she'll fit right in.
I predicted what your response to that would be. I would like to see your response.
Yeah.
Hi, T-Dog.
Yes, 2005 is a long-time listener since the beginning.
Do you tell we all make fools of ourselves? We can teach her how. She's a retired librarian, and I told her we've got a retired teacher. Rose down in Australia. We've got a guy who poop is his business. We all make fools of ourselves. There we go. I like this. I should send her a screenshot. She's from Munich, so it's like 3 in the morning. I think. What is 8? Wait, 9 and 5 is 14. It's 2 in the morning for her. So, oh shoot, that reminds me. The live show will be on Monday, not Sunday.
Next week. A week from tomorrow.
Yeah. I got to add that to the show notes. Monday, not Sunday night. Still 5 p.m. Pacific time. We have the opportunity.
What is our informal work slogan, Kevin?
What's that?
What is our informal work slogan here?
With Lindsay, Nolan.
Oh, your informal work slogan. Their poop is our bread and butter. Yes.
Their poop is our bread and butter.
I thought you meant Podfeets.
Let's see, Nikki.
That just doesn't sound right. Hello, Frank.
Frank's here, and we're okay to start.
Yep.
Hope
Actually, Frank's not listening.
Still make it on Monday. All right. Oh, just to make sure everybody knows titles, Rick is now Soundcheck Rick. Is that what we decided?
Soundcheck Rick.
Soundcheck Rick. Rick C is Soundcheck Rick. He comes in early. Steve and I do our audio checks with him. So
on Discord.
On Discord. So just so you know, it's good to keep all the titles correct, right?
Yes. You can also call him Drone Man.
Drone Man. All right, let's see. We've got Steve and Kevin and John and Rose and Rick and Sandy and Tizzy and Frank. So we've got a small but mighty group tonight. Frank. Who is that?
Catherine Johnson.
African-American mathematician whose calculation of orbital mechanics are NASA employed were critical to the success of first and subsequent U.S. manned space flights.
It sounds like one of the women from...
oh, it's her birthday, huh?
Was that August one of the women from, what was the movie?
Hidden Figures?
Hidden Figures?
Catherine Goebel. Yeah, she was. Wow. Yeah, that's very cool.
Nice.
I think I have a Lego of her. All
That's
right,
right.
I think I should get us started. Steve, what do you think?
I think it's time.
Okay, bring this up here. All right. Muting Steve. Goodbye. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Saturday. No, it isn't. You can tell when I write the show notes a day early because I have a text expander snippet that does that for me. All right, let's try that. Take two, everybody, take two. I'm in a good mood. We're going to have fun tonight. All right, here we go. Ooh, Steve, are you okay?
Yeah? Why?
Oh, your video disappeared. Oh, did you switch yourself?
I switched my live feed off so they can see your screen when you're talking.
Okay, but you disappear from
Whoops.
my control surface.
Well, now how about now?
No, now you're still there. That's weird. Okay, don't scare me like that.
Oh, I see what happened. This is what should happen. How about now? Do you see the control surface now?
I see you on Mimo Live now.
How about now?
But now make it. Yeah, now you're still on the control surface, so I can still see you.
Yeah, I think I took myself off accidentally.
Yeah, you scare me. Like if your machine goes down, I don't know what to do about it.
I'm here. Bye.
All right, goodbye now. Oh, you did it again. He just turned his video off. Oh well. There you go. You're turning. Good grief. Okay, never mind. It's okay. He's gone to me, but he's there to you. Wait, what happened? Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, August 26, 2018, and this is show number 694. Before we get started, I'd like to give a little shout out to Janet, who wrote to me for the first time this week after listening to the show since 2005. Isn't that incredible? Anyway, let's see. Next week, the live show that's Labor Day weekend in the United States will not be on Sunday night. It will be on Monday night. It'll still be on 5 p.m. Pacific time, but it will be on Monday, not Sunday in the United States. We have the opportunity to spend the evening with Lindsay, Nolan, Forbes, Kyle, and Nikki. And I got to tell you guys, I love the live audience, but that's tough competition. Anyway, I hope a lot of people could still come make it on Monday. With the NosillaCast, I have self-imposed pressure to never miss a show because I don't want to ruin my 13-year streak. Chit Chat Across the Pond doesn't have to live up to that same pressure, though, which is nice. That allows me to very occasionally miss a show, or in this week's case, publish the shows out of order. I've already recorded the latest programming by stealth with Bart, but I'm holding it till early next week so that I can sneak in a time-sensitive episode of Chit Chat Across the Pond Light. This Chit Chat is what could best be described as an accidental episode. Recently, Epic Games announced that they were going to port their insanely popular game Fortnite over to Android. It's currently making around $2 million a day via in-app purchases alone, and that's on iOS only. And, of course, they have to give 30% of that to Apple. Epic figured that they had an opportunity to make even more money if they didn't put Fortnite in the Google Play Store, where Google would take 30% of all the sales they got on Android. Now, unlike the walled garden with iOS, you can do this on Android, but it means your users have to disable certain security features to sideload from unknown sources. I was curious about how this works and is it really as dangerous as it sounds, so I called up my buddy Rob Dunwood of the SMR podcast to ask him how exactly this all works, how you do it on your phone, what is that like, and kind of to try to get his feel for whether this is dangerous. I realized after a few minutes that we were chatting on the phone that this would make a great chit chat, so we flipped over and recorded on the spot. In the conversation, Rob did a great job of explaining the repercussions and dangers, as well as the protections you'd still have. Now, that discussion with Rob about Fortnite and sideloading became Chit Chat Across the Pond Light, episode 560, which is already published. But then on Friday, Bart and I recorded the security bits, which you'll be hearing later in this episode. Bart had already listened to Rob and my conversation and had some really interesting input on the subject. But then, right after Bart and I finished recording security bits and talking about the Fortnite thing, Rob sent me the news that Google uncovered a pretty major flaw in the official Fortnite installer. According to the article in Android Central, the installer itself, not Fortnite, was easily exploitable. The installer would allow malware that's already on your phone to take over the installer and then download any app it wanted with full permission to your phone. You'd never know that it wasn't installing Fortnite, and you wouldn't get prompted for permissions, such as access to location or the camera, that sort of permission. Now, note that I said this requires you to have already had a malicious app on your phone for this vulnerability to be exploited. But also remember, there have been problems. There have been problematic applications in the Google Play Store in the past. They've made great progress in cleaning that up. But you could have something dormant on your phone that's waiting for this kind of opening. Now, the good news is that Google let Epic know about it and made it public, and Epic has fixed the installer. These two companies are definitely at odds on how this was all handled. Epic CEO has publicly said that they think Google was irresponsible in their public disclosure and that Google should have waited their standard 90 days before disclosing. Google has responded back that since it was a 0-day exploit, it did fit within their policy of making it public after 7 days. Now, Google is incentivized in this case to make Epic look really bad because they left the compound and took their money with them. So Google's losing that 30% of however much this makes on Android. Now, that doesn't mean Google is wrong in pointing this out. Epic wants to make as much money as possible, and, who can blame them? So they're incentivized to blame Google for this. In my view, the greed between these two corporations is putting users at a higher risk. So I think we could easily call this an Epic fail. Now, we've only got one piece of content from me this week, beyond everything I've already been yapping about, but we've got a lot of fun and security bits. So let's get started with my one piece of content. You came in early, Steve.
Sorry, Ed joined us.
Ed
Tobias.
Ed Tobias?
Mr.
How
Ed.
exciting. Mr. Ed. That's a great
handle.
That's a great handle. That is awesome. Oh, no, this isn't Chit Chat. He is Mr. Ed. Kaylee, when did Kaylee sneak in?
She popped in too, right after you started talking.
How exciting. So, Ed, have you been in before? Ed is famous from last week's episode.
Yeah, that would have been a good time to come in, Ed. We played your episode.
Yeah, really. What are you doing here? You sure sound welcoming, Steve.
Well, I already welcomed him. I figured he's already part of the group now.
Nope, first time. Okay, cool.
First time, excellent. Okay, I'm going to add you to the attendee list.
Yeah, did you know there's a double secret? I didn't want to do that.
So he's right behind Mr. New. No, right ahead of Mr. New.
Oh, that Mr. Ed. Oh yeah, Kaylee, you're a big 1970s TV show, game show type person, right?
That's okay, Ed. No need to apologize.
Good. Make him feel bad first thing. All right. Steve, I don't think I had any pictures of the room of crap beforehand.
Really?
Yeah, I screwed up. I have the series song reverberating through my mind. A horse is a horse, of course,
no,
of course. Unless, of course, the horse is a famous Mr. Ed. Skipped a few. If it was in Sandy's head, you might as well be in everybody's. Getting the feed online. Okay. Should I sing? All right. Chapter markers. No. I was going to put the audio, the intro in first. NosillaCast intro.
Thank you, Kaylee.
Nice.
Well done.
Yeah, I'm a little confused why that isn't your icon there
avatar,
in Discord.
Yeah.
Your avatar in this.
Excellent.
Okay, wait a minute. This needs
Maybe
to be
he's worried about copyright infringement.
Yeah. I think that's fair use. Let's hear where that lined up. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, August 26, 2018, and this is show number 694. Hey, my light just turned off, Steve. My LED light.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is show number 694. Uh-oh. Nobody hit that link. I wonder whether, I've got another battery, Steve. Is it worth putting it in? Or you're sitting there listening to him, aren't you?
Yes.
And this is show number 694. Before.
I think you're fine without it. You seem to have
Okay.
enough light. Oh, you know why?
Why?
The window on your far right is open. The shades.
Yeah, you usually cover that up,
Yeah,
right?
you're getting a little shine. Let me go fix that.
And this is show number 694. Good grief. I'm not getting this right. I used to like doing it at the same time I was using my voice, but maybe I need to find what that note looks like. 94. Okay. That's what I should do. Number 694. There we go. How is that? Oh, now it looks like an alien with glasses. I think you need a little more side view. If I look from a distance, it just looks like a creature going like that, doesn't it?
I think I can, yeah. It does look a little unusual.
Maybe
But it gets the point across.
Ooh, I just added the front light. That looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think it's better.
All right, now I got to do chapter markers. There's only going to be 2.
Light episode?
No, it's not really going to be that short. I mean, it just won't be epically long. Did you get my joke about epic? Did you get that?
I loved it. Yes, epic fail. I mean, they set themselves up.
I mean, I'm sure somebody else used that, but I still was kind of proud of that.
Yeah, you got to use it.
Arca-Sketch. I didn't try saying Arca-Sketch out loud.
Try it practice a couple times.
Arca-Sketch.
3 times quickly.
I might need to spell that for people. Probably should at the end.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Preview. And here we go. There's pictures from the blog post you can put in, Steve. Not the... Well, you could save the first one because the first one doesn't... It's really out of order. It's up to you. All right. Muting you. Never told you. Okay, fine. As I've mentioned a few times, Steve and I are having our bathrooms gutted and remodeled. It's a really stressful thing to live with. There's workers arriving at random intervals during the day, and of course there are days where we're ready for them and they don't show up, which was almost more stressful. Because of the demo of the downstairs bathroom, laundry room, and entryway tile, they sealed off the front of the house with plastic walls, so it's like living in a Dexter's kill room. Anyway, the stairs going up to the guest bath are covered in plastic stuck to the carpet, so that's a nice feature. We did discover that if any of one of your animals barfs on plastic carpet, it's actually really easy to clean up, though. Speaking of animals, our cats have to live in our bedroom with their cat litter in the master bathtub, and I think that's probably my favorite part of this whole thing. Now, I swear there's going to be a tech angle buried in this story, but the story has to be told to understand the problem I needed to solve. All of this anguish adds up to some pretty severe annoyance, as you can imagine. But things are going to get much, much worse soon. When they're done with the guest bath upstairs, they're going to start in on our master bath. Now, obviously, we won't be able to use the master bath during this time, but it also means that they will have to plastic coat our entire master bedroom as well. The amount of dust they create during demolition is pretty extreme. We had to actually disconnect our smoke detectors. It was so bad when they did it downstairs. Now, let me pull the curtain back on the podcast for a moment here. The members of the live show audience know this, but you might not know that my podcast studio is actually in our master bedroom. We have a giant long room, so my desk and all my monitors and mic stands and lighting and all that is all along one wall, and then I have this nice fireplace behind me for a nice background. If the master is going to be full of dust, there's no way I can keep all of this equipment in its current location. Now, the good news is we have a 4-bedroom home with only Steve and me living in it now. And he converted one room to his den with his computer. So on top of that, we have Lindsay's old bedroom set up as a pretty nice guest room. And then there's Kyle's room, or as I like to call it, the room of crap. Obviously, the room of crap will have to become my temporary studio. One of the challenges in life is getting your kids to get their crap out of your house after they grow up and move out. While my children are both perfect angels in every way and never do anything to torture their mother, this has been a bit of a challenge for me. Now, Lindsay would have taken her crap years ago, but she had been living in a 1,001 square foot, 2-bedroom house with a 70-pound black lab and a baby and a husband. So I really couldn't in good conscience ask her to take her stuff. Now that she has a giant house, bigger than mine, we packed up her room and we're transferring it all to her now. In fact, we gave her the last of it today. In her case, she asked to keep just about everything she had in her old bedroom. I'm talking like all of her Beanie Babies and its school newspapers and memory boxes. It took us 2 loads to get it to her. Now let's talk about Kyle in the room of crap. Kyle hasn't taken much of anything with him, and when I asked him to come and deal with it, his answer was, I'll just throw it all away. Well, I wasn't going to do that. I mean, plus it's his responsibility to deal with it, I think. Now that we finally had a forcing function with my imminent move into his room, we dragged him up here and the 3 of us emptied his room entirely. Now, just as a side note that has nothing to do with this, he really did throw close to 95% of the stuff away, walking out with a half-filled shoebox and one hand-drawn drawing by my friend John Zellner. I mean, that was it. It was really shocking how little he took out of that room. In fact, we threw away so much stuff, the remote control from the TV has disappeared. Oh, well. Well, once we had all the crap out, we really needed to rearrange the room. Now, I swear the tech angle is coming up soon. We've got a desk, a bed, a tall dresser, and a really, really crappy side table that needs to be burned and thrown away. I mean, the desk is pretty crappy too, but the dresser is kind of in the middle. Anyway, these things were all arranged in probably the worst way possible when Kyle was young to make a room feel comfortable and useful. You know, feng shui, not harmonized at all in this room. If I was going to work in this room for a month or more, I needed to rearrange it. I had lots of people look at the room to suggest ways to arrange it, but nothing seemed to work. It's this oddly square room, but has one wall that's all sliding glass doors. I don't know. It just didn't work. Finally, our friend Logan suggested a plan that looked like it had promise. But now I need to draw it out to see if things would actually fit. We aren't the kind of people who pick up a bunch of heavy furniture and move around to see if it's going to work. We needed to draw it. Now, being an engineer, you know I had to do this drawing to scale, right? I don't personally understand how anyone does things not to scale. I'll never forget when Lindsay did her mission project in the 4th grade. I think it's a state law. I've heard it's gone now, but every kid has to build a mission in 4th grade. She got an A+ on her 4th grade mission project, and they gave her the plus because the model she built was to scale. I mean, well, how else do you do it? I mean, I don't even understand. I might have been an influence on how her mission was made. But anyway, now, after all of this setup here, rearranging this room, I could have used some of the graph paper I have, but I figured there was a more modern technical solution. Now, I was under the impression that there were lots of really cool web services to help you lay out a room, most of which are connected to someone trying to sell you furniture. But that would be fine since, like I said, the desk is pretty bad and the table is way beyond keeping. So I thought that'd be great if you could offer some furniture and I could see how it would look in this room. And I would lay it out and I'd be able to see it in 3D and spin around and see if the feng shui was good. That's what I thought would happen. But for the life of me, I was not able to find a site that would meet my requirements to put in the exact dimensions and then see how the room would look. I did find one site and I spent a lot of time putting in the dimensions, putting the furniture in very painstakingly. I even chose new side tables from their inventory that I would actually consider buying. But after hours of putting the room together, I found out you couldn't spin the room around to see how it looked. I couldn't even see a nice plan view to measure to see, like, one of the things I want to know is if I put the desk really close to the door, would there be room between the desk chair and the bed or the corner of the desk and the entry to the room? Okay, I figured let's go look at iPad apps. Now, I'm not at all against paying for an app to do this with the threshold, around $10 or so, maybe even higher than that. If it's much more than that, though, I'm pulling out that graph paper. Finding an app for this was much harder than I thought. Again, the room design software I looked at failed to meet my criteria. But then I changed my search to drafting, and I found an app called Archisketch. It's ARCH as in architecture, ARCHI, and then sketch, SKETCH. It's from archisketch.eu. Archisketch works on the freemium model, which was great. That's exactly what I needed to be able to see if it would meet my needs before plunking down my hard-earned Hooniackers. Trademark Kaylee. For free, you can create 2 drawings in one project, and each project is limited to 40 objects. Luckily, with all of Kyle's stuff out of his room, I didn't have anywhere near 40 objects. And I mean, I was drawing pillows on the bed too, so I was able to lay out his room with the free portion of the software. Now, the paid version of ArchiSketch is only $13, so that's really close enough to my price range anyway, but I was able to figure out whether I could use it before giving them any money. By the way, they also have some upgrade packs for other features if you really get into using ArchiSketch. ArchiSketch has a ton of capabilities, but I'm going to narrow it down just to the features that I used. As one would hope, ArchiSketch opens with a graph paper background. Actually, I wanted to stop anyway. As one would hope, I'm going to start right there. I need a break. Save and drink some wine. What have I missed?
Break time.
Are you serious? 124 messages since I stopped looking?
Well, we got into drafting. There was some jokes about master bathing by Kevin.
No, I want to talk about being a draftsman. So Kevin was a draftsman in the 70s?
In the 70s, yes.
I did my share. Anybody do inking? I had to do inking on Mylar. That was horrible.
Yeah. One mistake, you start over.
Did Frank say, remember Benny and the Jets? I've worked for scale.
Yes.
That's nice.
That's when everything was done to scale.
Oh, I should tell the audience. So that picture of Lindsay with her mission project. So Lindsay and I put a lot of time into building this.
You don't have to talk about this.
I mean, this took us, it was months we worked on this thing, and I may have done a lot of it. And we finally got the whole thing done. And the last step we wanted to do, the very, very last step, was we put glue down on the ground area, and then sprinkled this green sprinkly stuff all over it to make grass. And you can see the beautiful grass in this picture. But I figured, okay, if I'm going to be sprinkling little green sprinkly stuff, I might as well do it out on the lawn. So Lindsay and I are out on the lawn. We're sprinkling all this green stuff on, and Steve turned on the sprinklers.
In my defense,
I'm an idiot and didn't notice there were 2 people on the lawn working on this.
The location where the sprinkler timers are set is not viewable. I can't see the backyard from where I was.
But why would you be doing anything to the lawn where you weren't trying to look at the lawn?
Because I was setting the timers and I was testing them. Oh, I quickly came around and realized
I screamed as though I had been shot. I'm not kidding you. I was sobbing. I was so upset about this.
Rick, I think Rick's seeing the
innocent mistake by Steve, Kevin says.
Thank you, Kevin. Predictable. Those are good old days.
I'm still pissed about that.
I think Lindsay took it better than you did.
Yeah, because I did most of it.
Tells you something about the project, doesn't it?
Oh, man. Oh, I'm still mad about that. It's like, me world. Luckily, it ended up, the river ended up just looking like it had rained and stuff. But it warped the foam core and stuff.
I was adding realism.
No, it was not waterproof. So no inking, huh? Kevin, did you do any inking? Oh, he did. Yeah, on vellum. Oh, God, it was horrible. So you would draw with ink on vellum, but if you made a mistake to erase it, you had an electric eraser, and you'd have you were essentially polishing it off. The vellum had this kind of matte finish to it, but when you erased it with the electric eraser, because again, this is ink on vellum, it would scrape off that matte finish, and it would be shiny and then really hard to draw over it again. It was such a pain. Like making a mistake was just like, oh, shoot me now. I hated vellum. Your K&E pens. Oh, I don't have any of my pens. I do have my, where is it? There it is. There's my drafting pencil and my pencil pointer. So you just have giant pieces of lead, and it's just a pencil sharpener, but you had to have a special kind because it was sharpening just pure lead, not a pencil. I jailbreak an iPhone. Oh, good. Still have your slide rule. I have my I do not have mine, but where's it? Allison left. Where is it? Oh, I'm not gonna take that time.
That's some good video right there.
Ooh, you breaking up on video. I should turn off Wi-Fi. Oh, we had trouble when I did.
You move so much. When you have that much change in a frame, there's a lot of bitrate stuff going on, so it stalls out. Try not to move. Just move your lips, you'll be fine. Don't move your body.
Run it through the blue printer. That's right. Yeah. I have my dad's slide rule. That's cool, Rick. Rick, are you an engineer? I don't think we ever asked. For some reason, you seemed like an engineer.
Well,
okay.
He's retired. Right, Rick? I think you're retired now.
That's the best kind of engineer.
Yes.
Mr. Ed.
Just like us.
All right. And Ed. Mr. Ed is also an engineer.
Yes. We worked with Mr. Ed.
Yeah. You did. Did I work?
Did.
I worked for
same
it.
Company.
I worked more for him. He was one of my customers, right? 1934. Is that when you retired, Frank? Groucho. Okay. All right. Did he? Oh, he did say yes. Okay. All right. I got to keep going.
Where are
Goodbye,
you?
Steve.
Are you on shapes?
I'm right above shapes, as one would hope.
All right. Hit the shapes.
As one would hope, Arcus got it right the first 5 times. Well, that's cool, TJ. As one would hope, Arc-a-Sketch opens with a graph paper background. If you're alert, as I was not when I started, you'll see the scale on the left-hand side. You should really pay attention to that. I didn't notice it initially, and while I thought I was entering inches, I was actually entering feet. So some of my carefully crafted measurements are a bit of nonsense now that I look closely. Armed with the one thing I wish I'd noticed before, let's start drawing. Across the bottom of the screen are your drawing tools, which through trial and error are pretty easy to figure out. Tapping on the icons at the bottom replaces them with the features of the item that you've selected. For example, the first icon is for text and arrows, while the second icon is to draw shapes. Tapping on the shapes icon replaces all of the bottom icons with options for creating and manipulating shapes. Makes sense, right? You'll find a shape picker with the usual suspects, rectangles, ovals, circles, polygons, and squiggly lines, along with one that's perfect to show an opening door, a triangle, and oddly, the selection rectangle is buried under shapes. Not sure why they buried it in there, and I'm sure I won't remember that, and I'll have to hunt for it each time. Across the bottom, with the shape icon selected, you can change the stroke and fill colors along with the thickness of the stroke, as well as toggle that stroke from solid to dashed. Pretty much the usual suspects. Okay, the reason I said shaper was because that's what my notes said. Let me find that. Shaper. I read exactly what it says. So, Steve, when you edit, you could just put in things like Steve is right, and I would just read it out loud.
Oh, I have.
He took something funny out of my notes last time. All right.
Because it was incorrect.
No, it was funny. It was like 11s or something like that, wasn't it?
Oh, right.
Oh, 15 seconds.
Seconds, yeah. Were you like trying to be
I was being
Gollum?
cute. Yeah, exactly. All right. Save before sausage cometh. That's a good idea. All right. With the shape or shapes selected, the bottom right will give you more things to do with the objects you're creating. There's a handy duplicate button, which was very useful for me when I drew my first side table and I just wanted another one. The next icon is an arrow in a circle, which I thought would be undo, but instead it's a rotate button. Once you know that, it makes perfect sense. If you click on the rotate button, it'll give the selected object or objects a center point and a rotate angle that you move with your finger or stylus. It was a very intuitive use of the touch interface. The next icon over lets you increase the size of an object about its center point with an obvious drag indicator to do so. Without using this resizing icon, your shapes will not stay locked to the original aspect ratio. Arc-a-Sketch has ordering within a layer, and it has layers as well, but we'll get into that in a minute. So the next icon on the right lets you deselect all, lock your selection, and then move selections forward and back and between layers. You can flip selections, cut them, and oddly under this icon, you can show the ruler. Again, why bury a tool like this in what is more of an ordering kind of menu? Anyway, the ruler jumps up on screen, showing the length, and you can drag the ruler endpoints to your heart's desire. This was a critical feature for Steve and me to be able to see, like I said, whether we'd have a comfortable distance between the corner of the desk and the entrance to the room. I needed that, and ArchiSketch had it. Again, buried in an odd place inside the ordering menu is the option to enable the Show Quick Switch Draw palette. This turns on a little floating palette that lets you quickly switch between drawing shapes, lines, and using the eraser. You can drag it around on screen, which is really cool, so if it's ever in your way, it's easy to move. A tap of the red X in that little floating menu, and it disappears again. Now, I should mention that if no objects are selected on screen, that ordering menu mutates into only having the ruler and quick draw palette. With an object or objects selected, you'll see a very tiny X which deletes the selected objects. Now, I wish that was a trash can because my brain is trained to look for that, and I keep glancing right past the X trying to figure out how to delete an object. I know why they didn't make it a trash can, though. It's because that button doubles as a cancel button. So let's say you partially rotated an object and you change your mind, you can back out with the little X. Another icon that doesn't look like what it does is the last one in the bottom right. It's a red circle with what looks like a backup one chapter button. You know, the little sideways chevron with the vertical line. Anyway, that's the undo icon. Again, once you know what it does, that kind of makes sense. But below and to the right of that red icon is a teeny tiny little red icon that has what looks like a forward button in it. Anyway, I'm not exaggerating when I say it's small. I put a photo of it in the show notes with a ruler on it. It's less than 2 millimeters in diameter. Zooming in on my photo, I can see that it's a forward button, so evidently that's the redo button. I wish you the best of luck tapping on it, though. Now, I mentioned in Shapes that the Shapes tool has polygons, but this is not your grandfather's polygons. This is a vector tool. You can create complex shapes, and every corner you make is a node, which can later be dragged to change the shape. These nodes can also be made into rounded corners by dragging a slider for the radius, and you can even add and delete nodes after your polygon is created. Now think about using ArchiSketch to design that fancy pool shape that you've had in your head all these years that no pool cleaner will ever be able to clean. I'm going to get to the other features, but remember the problem we're trying to solve. I want to create a 2-scale drawing. When you select a shape, like let's say it's a rectangle to represent the bed, as you tap and drag on screen, you'll see 2 changing numbers at the top of the screen. Now, I haven't quite cracked the code yet on what causes this behavior, but sometimes the 2 dimensions, say, like I said for a rectangle, are the width and height, which you would really want it to be. But other times, I swear, also drawing a rectangle, it showed me length and area. Obviously, length and width are preferable, and I tried double tapping on those to see if I could get the A to turn into width, but it didn't. But then the next time I went to do it, it was width and height. So I don't know what that is. If somebody figures that out, I would like to know, because I would like to keep it length and width. The one thing I found difficult in using ArchiSketch to draw up Kyle's room was to get my shapes and wall dimensions to be exact. I would painstakingly drag an edge, and it would fly past the number I wanted, and then I'd miss it coming back the other way. Well, luckily, when going through ArchiSketch in order to explain it to you, I discovered that if you tap on those dimensions at the top of the screen, you could type in the exact values. Man, it would have been a lot faster to redesign Kyle's room if I'd known that the first time. Well, the other problem was I would accidentally move shapes when trying to adjust something else close by. I was hoping that the lock shapes icon option in the ordering menu would lock the dimensions but still let me drag them around, but it actually locks both the dimensions and locations. In the upper right menu that we haven't explored yet, there's a little magnet, and that enables snap points. Enabling this feature allows your shapes to snap and align with each other. This is good, but I'd really hoped it was a snap to grid option. At one point in my discovery phase in ArchiSketch, I did find a snap to grid option, but its location eludes me now when I go to look for it. I think that's the wrong eludes. I wrote A-L-L-U-D-E-S. Don't I mean like I-L-L-U-D-E-S? Eludes, not alludes? Like you allude to something means to refer to that. I think it's eludes. Anybody know? And is it 2 L's? Okay, dictionary. Trick, delude. He allowed his imagination to elude. Yeah, it's I-L-L. No, I think alludes is like, so I'm trying to say it eludes me, like I can't find it. Well, wait a minute. That means trick or delude. Allude? Let's see what allude means. Whoop. Everybody's typing into dictionary, right? Where's the dictionary? There it is. Allude.
It's alluding
That's
to,
like to refer
referring
to.
Elude.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Trick.
Eludes. Oh, it's E-L-U-D-E-S. There you go.
Of course,
there's three of them. Evade or escape. Very good, Sandy. Man, that was worth having here. I don't care what Kevin says.
She just earned her keep.
Yeah.
By the way, as long as you're doing corrections, Huniakers is spelled incorrectly.
Well, I went back and forth. Is it 1K or 2? Is that the question?
It's CK. Yacker. Like yak, yak, yak. Well, I guess yak has just K. But.
I am not making this up. Not at all. Kayla, you're going to love this. When I went to type that, I thought, oh man, how do you spell Huniakers? I checked time zones to see whether you were awake, but it was 3 a.m. for you. I really did. And by the way, a Huniaker is a terrible person. In if you look it up in Urban Dictionary.
Wait, really has a definition, huh?
Yeah, a Huniaker is not somebody you want to get to know.
So something not repeatable on the show.
Well, it wasn't terrible, but it was. I knew both without the dictionary. Just bragging. Good job. Eludes by Mr. Ed. Okay, where was I now? Uh-oh. Okay. Selection snap points. Okay. Let's see. Now, where did I say that? Glad you got me on the Huniakers. At one point, my discovery phase.
That was Kaylee.
All right, good. I was giving you credit, Steve. You get credit for paying attention. All right. Muting Steve at one point. At one point in my discovery phase on Arc-a-Sketch, I did find a snap to grid option, but its location eludes me now when I look for it. So I can't tell you where it is. If somebody finds it, let me know. Well, I mentioned earlier that in the Shapes menu, you'll find a selection rectangle. Tap and drag across a series of shapes, and any shape partially inside the rectangle will be selected. There's another way to select multiple objects, and I pretty much only do it by accident. You tap on an object, and then just tap on a second object, and they're both selected. I don't think I've ever used a drawing tool where this is the default. So I'm sure I would get used to it if I used it regularly, but I can't tell you how many times I was carefully moving one object when another object I'd perfectly placed earlier was trailing along with my movements, unbeknownst to me. I think this is part of my problem with needing them to lock in place. A really interesting feature of Arc-a-Sketch is the erase tools. Every shape you have available to you under the Shape tool is also available as an erase tool. For example, you can draw a complex polygon with rounded corners as an erase tool. Whatever it is above will be erased, but only in the shape that you've selected. From what I can figure out in my testing, the erase tools don't obey any of the layering or order commands, so they're always on top. So I tried that in the ordering menu to say, okay, move this erase tool to a different layer or send it to the back. I wanted to see whether I could erase one thing below, but not the thing above it. But no, they're always on top and they're always on the layer you drew them. But you can draw circles and rectangles and just scribble with a pen. It's kind of an interesting feature. Now, if you're a retired engineer like me and Rick and Ed and Steve, or if you think like one, you want to put dimensions on your drawings. I love the way Arc-a-Sketch does dimensions. I simply tap on the dimensions to, okay, there's another typo. Good excuse to fix that. Simple tap. Simple tap. S-I-M-P-L-E tap. I'm sure glad you checked this for me, Steve. You didn't even catch the misspelling of Huniakers.
Actually, I didn't know how it was spelled.
Or eludes.
It was Kaylee.
I love the way Architect... Maybe I should have Sandy be my editor, Steve.
Let's see. She's welcome.
I love the way Arc-a-Sketch does dimensions. I simply tap on the dimension tool. Nope. Not a simple tap. I love the way Archisketch does dimensions. I simply tap on the dimension tool and it allows you to tap and drag along in open space or on an object where it'll snap to the snap points, and then you can let go and your dimensions appear on screen. You can then tap and drag on the number to make the dimension location easier to the eye, easier to see. Locally, okay, I have not. One more time. Take three. Take three, everybody. Take three. I love the way Archisketch does dimensions. I simply tap on one of the dimension tools. You know, what's wrong? That's typed wrong. That's what's wrong. Simple, not I simply. That's why I keep saying it wrong. A simple, not I simply. Quite a few typos. I didn't give you much time to do this one, as I recall. It was a rush job. I'm going to cut Steve some slack here. Okay. I love the way Archisketch does dimensions. A simple tap of the dimension tool allows you to tap and drag along, say, in open space or on an object where it'll snap to the snap points, and then you can let go and your dimensions will appear on screen. But sometimes they're not aligned correctly, you know, that maybe they land right on the object. You can simply tap and drag on the number to make the dimension location easier to the eye. Oddly, you can also drag these dimensions around, which happened to me a few times. Can you guess what caused it? Yep, leaving one selected when I tapped and dragged something else. You can also... Okay, I thought that was a typo, but it's...
Hold on, I have to interrupt.
What?
Guess who just joined the chat room?
Who?
Check it out.
Janet! Oh my gosh, Jan McCarta. Oh my gosh. I gave the audience such... this is Janet?
Yes.
I gave the audience such a good laugh when I told them you were worried about making a fool of yourself. What they said was hilarious. They all went on about how it was just pretty much what they do. It's pretty much what it's for.
Wow, it's 2:30. Janet, you are dedicated, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
That is very fun. Two noobs. Hey, you can sit in the row with Mr. Ed.
No,
because he's new here too.
Ed had to leave.
Oh, Ed left.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. That's very cool. I got to tell you, I loved your letter so much. I sent it to my mother-in-law to have her read it I teared up. That was the best letter ever. Oh yeah, she did. Yep. For a letter from somebody who's been listening so long, that really touched me. That was very cool.
Yeah, Janet, the first time it does take a little bit of time, but next time you can snap right in. So no worries.
Oh, did take her that. I saw that you came in at right around about an hour. What was it? An hour early? Or quite a few hours. I saw you had signed up, and I wondered if that might be you. Okay, let's see. Yep, leaving one selected when I tapped and dragged something else. Okay. Uh-oh, I have to listen to Kevin. I gotta see what Kevin sent. Can I hear this? Shoot, I can't hear Kevin. Oh, I know why. Okay, hang on.
That's pretty good.
All right, there we go.
He remembers his German.
Guten Morgen. All right, all I know how to say in German is butterfly. It's Schmetterling.
Schmetterling.
Okay.
Yes.
Very cool. That is so cool you're here. That's really awesome. Leaving one selected when I tapped and dragged something else. Okay, where was that? There we go. All right. The other weird thing is you can lie and change the dimension by tapping on the number and just entering a new value. It will show you that you're a cheater, though. The hand-typed dimensions will be in italics. With Archisketch Dimensions tool, I was able to determine that I would have just under 24 inches to walk through the door, even with the desk where I wanted it, which was fine. Now, if you have a photo or another drawing that you want to use as the basis for your drawing, especially let's say you're drawing in 3D, there's a button to import images and then fade them so it's easier to draw on top of them. Under the star menu, you'll find a few floor plan symbols to help you get started. For example, there's a conference room table, a couch, and maybe a dozen or more symbols like that. You can create your own symbols and store them in the symbols library to use across your projects. I tried using the double bed symbol they provided, and it didn't fit well in the room at all, and I was kind of worried. I checked, and their symbol was much wider than the double bed I own. So I don't know if there's two sizes of double beds or they didn't do theirs right, but mine fits. Anyway, I tried to change the dimensions of the symbol created bed, and they wouldn't let you do that. So just be wary if you're laying something out to use the real dimensions. Now, I've only got a few more things I want to tell you about Arc-a-Sketch before I let you loose with it. In the upper right, there's a layers menu where you can actually easily add new layers, switch layers on which you want to work, delete layers, and change whether a layer is visible. The Add Layers button is pretty obvious. It's a plus sign on top of two rectangles. The Edit Layers button is quite a bit less obvious. It's a horizontal line with a vertical line down on the right edge, sort of like an L on its side. Let's see, and I think that's also backwards. Anyway, it's a weird choice, but it works really well once you know what it means. The best menu option I found in the upper right is the question mark. I really wish I'd noticed this when I first used Arc-a-Sketch to draw out Kyle's room. It is filled with many very lovely 1 to 2 minute long videos to teach you how to use the tools. I learned so many things in watching the first 3 or 4 that kept me from sounding like an idiot in this review. Remember when I said at the beginning I didn't do the scale correctly the first time I used Arc-a-Sketch? One of those videos taught me how to set up the scale properly. After viewing the help videos, I was able to recreate Kyle's room in about 1/10 the time that it did the first time, so these help files are very well worth watching. Like I said, they're really short, so you're not investing a ton of time. You just watch the ones you need to see. The bottom line is that I could have drawn this far easier and more quickly using graph paper and a pencil. But having learned to use Arc-a-Sketch, at least the basics, I know I'll be able to rely on it for future layouts. I don't want you to think I've explained all that Arc-a-Sketch can do because I haven't watched all of the little videos. I encourage you to download the app and watch and learn for yourself. The even better news is that through using Arc-a-Sketch, we discovered that Logan's idea did fit. We reorganized the room and it is officially no longer the room of crap. I'm looking forward to moving my studio in there, and who knows, maybe I'll like it in there and I keep it for good. I told Steve that if I do, he has to get me a green screen to recreate my mantle of toys in there, though. Anyway, check out Arc-a-Sketch at arcasketch.eu and in the iOS App Store.
Woo, that was a long one.
It was. See why I didn't need a second one? Yes.
Janet is a Brit, but lives in Germany.
Oh, so your accent must be awesome. I still can't believe you hear it. That is so cool.
Yeah. That's fun.
Let's see.
And Kaylee wants to take us to a sushi conveyor belt place.
All sushi, all the time. You know what's going to happen? We're going to go visit her, and we're just going to go to Osaka.
For 2 weeks.
We're staying with you. Actually, one of my favorite stories to tell about something like that is Oliver Breitenbach, who is the CEO of Breitenbach. Who is the CEO of Boinks. We were talking to him one time, and he said, you really should come to Germany, and that's where he lived at the time. He's in Austria now, but he said, you really should come over and see it. It's amazing. And I said, oh, we'll stay with you. And I was just kidding. And I said, we should stay with you. And he goes, no. I mean, just like that, just flat, no.
And then he had to explain that Germans are known for their directness.
It was so funny, though. I mean, I didn't actually mean it, but he said later on that it was actually that they were having construction done on their house or something along those lines. I don't know what it was, but it was hilarious. It was so funny.
Sounds like you might want to save now.
You think?
Yeah, Kevin's getting a little itchy.
Would that be the end of the sausage grinder if the move is permanent?
No, we can bring the sausage grinder into Kyle's room.
Oh, you just went really fast. Really fast. Talk with David Sparks since you just went moving his studio. Yeah. Yeah, I heard him talking about that. Oh, okay. Kaylee says this blog post came at the perfect time. Exactly the kind of app I need. I've been working for in the middle of clearing, rearranging, building a new home studio. Ooh.
Excellent.
Maybe we should...
I don't know. I didn't show a picture of the finished room.
Yeah, you should show him.
Plop that in there.
Yep.
Oh, actually, the drawing of the finished room.
Yeah, that's actually the more interesting one.
Yeah.
that's like a childhood IKEA desk, but
That's gonna go.
yeah, and I was thinking, Steve, if I do end up liking it in that room, I'm vamping because I'm still decoding the import of my audio files for security bits. If I end up staying there, I won't want that really pretty desk. I'll need a huge one.
Right. Well, could we swap out the one you're using now? Bring it in.
I guess. Yeah.
We should measure it, see if it fits.
What are we going to put in this space, though?
We could put that desk that you had in mind, the smaller one.
Well, why do we need a desk in here?
Well, there might be times.
Guess I could have 2 desks. So I could have a desk for doing real work, like working on taxes or whatever annoyance. Okay. You can line these guys up. I'm betting that's that.
Who needs a bed?
Oh, you should show. I'm going to hide you because
all right.
That one, right? This is the fun stuff when I start lining up. So the upper 2 recordings are mine. So this is me, the orange one, and that's Bart. And then this is Bart's recording of Bart, and that's me. It's interesting because you can see how much the drift, the lag is. Let me zoom in and get these straight. So if I move that, so that's Bart on both tracks. I'm sorry, this and that is Bart on both tracks. Now look how different I am. So I've decided I don't really spend that much time aligning them exactly. I go like this, and I get rid of, that's me, I think. That time of the week again is, okay, now let's listen to Bart.
I am grand.
Okay, so he's good on both. So I'm going to get rid of this version of him and this version of me. And then I'm going to line this one up so it's just kind of halfway in between there. Let's see how that sounds. Oh, yeah. Did anybody explain the sausage grinder to Janet?
I don't think anyone has.
Yeah, Kevin, you might want to do that.
Well, that's kind of hard to do in a chat.
Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Security Bits with Bart Boost Shots. How are you today, Bart?
I am grand, having spent most of my afternoon dodging thunderstorms, mostly successfully.
Well, we've got a lot on the... Okay. I love having his audio good. I just started doing double enders on the audio, and we don't know why we didn't do it all along. It's not that hard. You just saw how hard it was. It takes a little while to import it, but...
Define double ender just in case.
Oh, a double ender is when you... Oh, is that what I'm going to need next?
That's
the wood chipper? A double ender is when each person records themselves, and then you import it and put them together. Actually, so for the longest time, I've just recorded both sides. But then we thought, wait a minute, he's got good bandwidth. Why not have a better recording of him?
He's recording both sides too, right?
Yeah, we don't. Most people don't do that. They record themselves. But we like to have 2 copies in case something goes wrong, and that's saved us a couple times.
Yep.
You have that model in your kitchen, Janet? Wait, the wood chipper? Wood chipper?
I think she meant the previous one.
Ah, yes. That's the. Wait, where is it? Yeah, it's on this side, right?
Point up right above.
It's not on screen.
Yeah, it is. It is on screen.
Oh, it is.
Don't move your camera.
There.
Right there.
Weighs about 9,500 pounds, and we got it from Kevin. That might be the funniest.
Shipping was probably $30 for that thing.
Yeah, probably was. Okay. And in the iOS App Store. What's that time of the week again? Nailed it.
Nailed it. Did you already do Patreon?
Nope. Thanks. All that work, and now I've got to go move it. It's hard to get good help. All right. Thank you. I guess I'll forgive you for allowing all those typos.
Anytime.
Ah! Okay. So let's see. I'm going to do... Let's see. How about if I move you straight down, Allison? And I'm going to mute these 3 tracks. Right here. Okay, muting Steve. That's already in there, dear. But good idea. Okay, here we go. Well, this week we had 3 new people contribute financially to the success of the podcast. Ian and April both took the time to go to podfeed.com/Patreon and elect to pledge a dollar amount per NosillaCast episode to help support the production of the shows. It always humbles me when I see people contributing in this way because it shows they're getting true value out of the shows. As a public service announcement, please, when you go to Patreon, pay very close attention when you make your pledge to how the producer has chosen to charge. Frank pledged last week to the NosillaCast, and all of the other shows he supports charge monthly, so he put in the amount he wanted to pledge to the NosillaCast per month. Luckily, I questioned his sanity because I charge essentially per week, not per month, because I do it per NosillaCast. Luckily, we caught this before you had to go on food stamps, so just pay close attention when you sign up for how each individual producers choose to charge. If you've got a subscription fatigue, but very much... Wait a minute. Ah, crud. I didn't put the 2 names in. Dagnabbit. I'm going to have to redo that. One moment, please.
Where do they go? I don't see this spot.
Just in the middle of the ad here. Hang on. Oh, I did. Dagnabbit. I did say it. Mine. Ian and April. Okay. Good. Never mind. If you've got a subscription. Okay. There we go. Now, where was I? I did see it. Thank you so much to Ian and April. Now, if you've got subscription fatigue, but still want a way to contribute, you... Actually, that's going to sound weird right there. I'll do that again. That was ad-libbing. Try that again. In any case, special thanks to Ian and April for supporting the show. Now, maybe you've got subscription fatigue, but still want to find a way to contribute. You could choose to make a one-time payment via PayPal, like Janet did this week. Now, that's really easy to find, too. Just go to podfeed.com/PayPal, and you can find it right there. Thank you to all of you who contribute in whatever way you can. There's no apostrophe in PayPal, it turns out. There it is. Okay, got it. Now can I do security bits? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, dear. Okay, and that. Oh, I gotta unmute those. They won't be very interesting at all if they're muted. You guys see what I'm doing? Do you see that mute and unmute when I'm doing it, Steve?
Where?
Wait, there it is. On the left-hand side, you see the track that's blue says security bits?
Yep.
Below that, there's an M. When I hit that, can you see it's muted?
Toggle it a few times.
That's off, so it's white now. Now it should be orange.
Oh, that's subtle. I can see it, but only because you're pointing it out.
Okay.
That's on
you see the red button in the top row?
Toggle that.
That one's a little more subtle.
Yeah, I see it.
Hi, T-Dog. Rush is here.
Rush.
Wow, they're coming in.
Late, but still made it.
Yeah.
Actually, it'd be on Showtime.
I was going to say, I think I think Janet doesn't have to buy drinks since it's her first time, right?
Yeah.
But normally, if you're late, Kevin's going to make you buy drinks, so.
Yeah. Janet says it's fascinating to watch the NosillaCast being created.
Actually, she says it's exciting. Oh, no,
Well,
that was early. Oh,
yeah.
that's good.
But
You feel like old friends.
If you listen to something for 13 years and now you finally see how it's created, it would be unusual.
It is a funny thing. I bet, Janet, you could name the name of my dog. You could name my grandson. You know what my job was. You know, it's funny. You feel like you get to know people because Alex Lindsay said it best when he said the thing about an audio podcast is I'm whispering in your ears. Right? I mean, it's a totally different experience. At least that's the way I feel about people.
What'd you say?
Shut up, Steve. Unfortunately, I've burned out the frequency of my voice in Steve's ears, so he can't hear me at all anymore. Oh, yeah, Rush totally has to buy drinks, Sandy. No doubt. No doubt. He knows the rules. Oh, Sandy sees a Tesla tail. Whatever way you can. There we go. All right. We are getting... Oh, 6:05. How did I go over time? Messing up, apparently. What's that time of the week? Okay, that's still good. Go to the end. Oh, that's the one funny thing is Bart often has stuff after we're done talking. Let's see if that's the real end.
Indeed, and until then, stay patched and stay secure.
Oh, that time he cut it right off. Sometimes we forget. Okay. Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. Do not forget to send in your dumb questions, comments, and suggestions by emailing me at allison@podfeed.com. And Linda, yes, I do realize that you sent me 3 or 4 in a row that are really good, and I just haven't gotten to them yet. I have not forgotten, but I have not answered them yet. Anyway, you can follow me on Twitter at Podfeed. Remember, anything you're looking for starts with podfeed.com. You want to contribute on Patreon? Podfeed.com/Patreon. Want to join our Facebook group? Podfeed.com/Facebook. Want to join our Google Plus community? Podfeed.com/Google Plus. Want to join the live chat during the live show? Podfeed.com/chat. Want to contribute by using Amazon affiliate links? Podfeed.com/Amazon. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, like Janet did for the first time and Ed did for the first time, very excited to have them both here, head on over to podfeed.com/live. Normally on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time, but next week only, it will be on Monday night at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And when you do, you can join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed.
Frank thought he was pledging for G&Ts.
Well, that is what most of our money goes to. Actually, we have a funny story about that. I may have told it on the show before, but many years ago, when we first got married. What's that?
It hasn't stopped you before. Go ahead and tell it.
Where's my outro music? I'm still working. When we first got married, we had a mortgage that was, what, 2.5, 3 times as much as our apartment rentals had been. And we acted as though our rent was the same, our mortgage was the same price. And so we just sort of started to run out of money, and we're like, wait, where'd all the money go? I don't understand. And so we decided, Steve said, well, we're really going to have to, buckle down and tighten the old belt there and cut back on some expenses. So we decided that we could not afford to drink Tanqueray gin anymore. That was one of our big things we were going to give up. And I went out and I bought a bottle of Gilby's gin. We had one drink. We did not continue to do that. We got rid of we actually still have the bottle of Gilby's gin in our garage. We've been married for 35 years, and that bottle of gin is still in our garage.
Just as a reminder of things that you must cut out of life sometimes.
Yep. Don't make it be your gin.
Or things you don't want to cut out.
Thanks for listening, and stay subscribed. There we go. I think we've got it. Uh-oh. Kevin's talking German. Allison, check PMs. Okay, I can't right now because I'm still working on the show, but I will in just a minute. Let's see. Did Janet go? Good for paint remover. Yeah, my dad used to actually drink it. Uh-oh.
Janet is still here.
Oh, okay. I saw Kevin writing. How come nobody reminded me to
chapter mark.
Do a chapter mark for security bits?
I just did.
Yeah, no, it doesn't count now.
Too late?
Well, no, I know I gotta go.
Put one in?
I can, but I have to go find it. Okay, there it is. Isn't that hard? I don't know what you were whining about. Okay, right there. Let's see that. and that, and that. Security bits. Man, we talked about so many different subjects. The URL title is really long in this. And I'd cut a lot of stuff out. It was quite a long little episode. All right. Now we're good. 2 chapters. Janet says, no, still here sipping tea with the little finger bent out like the queen.
I think she's our kind of people.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
Is it broken?
I think the show must be over. All right. I think we will call it. So excited that you were able to be here, Janet. I hope everybody was... Oh, Kevin did remind me. Uh-oh. Yeah, I hope everybody was nice to you, even Kevin, and you got to know everybody. It's really fun that you came. And to come at 2:30 in the morning, that's crazy talk. I can't believe you did that.
Yeah, that's commitment.
Oh, you won't be around for a while. Okay. All right. Well, it was nice to see you again. Kaylee, glad you could come. Rush, drinks next time. And I think we should call it. Goodbye, Rose. Say goodbye, Steve.
Good night, Gracie.